أعوذ بالله السميع العليم من الشيطان اللعين الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم الحمد لله رب العالمين خالق السماوات والأرض إلها واحدا أحدا صمدا لم يتخذ صاحبة ولا ولدا والصلاة والسلام على أشرف الأنبياء والمرسلين خاتم النبيين رحمة للعالمين طه وياسين بالقاسم محمد وعلى آله الطيبين الطاهرين المعصومين المظلومين المنتجبين ورحمة الله على محبيهم ولعنة الله على أعدائهم وقاتليهم وغاصب حقوق حقهم ومنكر فضائلهم أجمعين من يومنا هذا إلى يوم الدين. أما بعد فقد قال الله سبحانه وتبارك في كتابه الحكيم وفرقانه المجيد وقوله الحق بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم يا أيها الذين آمنوا كتب عليكم الصيام كما كتب على الذين من قبلكم لعلكم تتقون. والصلوات على محمد وعلى محمد. Yesterday night we were talking about the position of Adam and the action that Adam had committed, and what we know in the history of the Anbiya as something called tark aula, which is not a sin, which is not a guna, which is something that we would not expect from somebody in that position to do. We are talking a little bit about the ismat of the Anbiya and the ismat of the Ahlul Bayt, whom we refer to as the Ma'asumin. By definition, Ma'asum means one who does not commit error, who does not commit sin, who does not disobey Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. There's an important point to keep in mind here when we talk about the ismat of the Ahlul Bayt or the ismat of the Anbiya. And we first need to just understand what tark aula in a bit of explanation is, because tark aula sometimes gets interpreted by some Muslims, and of course non-Muslims have done this as a way of showing that look, the prophets are just like us, they're nothing special, they're nothing higher, they make mistakes just like we make mistakes, they sometimes are right, sometimes they're wrong, just like we are sometimes right, sometimes we are wrong. And so this is used as an example for our own misdeeds, for our own errors and shortcomings and failings. This becomes a justification that, well, if a Nabi can make a mistake, so it's not a big deal if I make a mistake. And so this, inshallah, in today's discussion will be clarified. And we also know that, for example, Hazrat Musa, when he had killed a man, when that one Egyptian, when that Misri was fighting or quarreling or abusing one of the Bani Israel, and Hazrat Musa tried to free him, had tried to help the Israelite, the Bani Israeli, and in the course of fighting with this Egyptian, he ended up killing him. And of course, some Muslims refer to Hazrat or call Hazrat Musa, na'udhu billah, a murderer. When the issue of Hazrat Ibrahim had taken place, when he had broken the idols and he had kept the hammer beside the biggest idol, then some say that, well, he was a liar. Na'udhu billah. Ibrahim was a liar because when they asked him, did you break these idols? Hazrat Ibrahim says, well, the hammer is with the biggest idol. Ask him who broke the idols. So they would say that, na'udhu billah, Ibrahim lied. And examples of this, Hazrat Yunus leaving Nineveh without the order of Allah. And there's countless examples in the history that are, but sufficient is it to say that tark aula is something that is not a sin. That even if you look at the fiqh today, even if you look at the Shari issue today, if somebody is attacking your house or somebody is attacking your family, and you fight that person, you defend your family and you defend your home against that person, and if in the process of that defense, that person gets killed, you will not be given the saza of a murderer. So you can see that even in contemporary fiqh, contemporary legislation, legal issues, this is something very clear. So Hazrat Musa, to call him a murderer would not be a correct statement. And even if we were to look at it from a logical point of view, in defense, you see this in numerous examples around us. The issue so arises that the Anbiya do have some category that is known as tark aula. It is not something that is a sin, and it is something that maybe you would not expect somebody in that position to do. So I just wanted to highlight and emphasize that part. Now we come to the issue of ismat. What is ismat? Ismat we talk about as infallibility. We say, we teach our children Masum Chauda, Masum Chaud, and that means that they are infallible, they don't make any mistakes, they don't make any errors, they don't make any slip-ups. And everybody, if you're following any of the Ahlul Bayt, any of the Prophet's legitimate descendants, then we know that none of them will err. And we have also got that not only their actions are acceptable, even their silence is a hujjat as well. Even their silence comes under the category of ismat as well. So for example, if somebody is doing something in the presence of an imam, if somebody is committing an action in the presence of a ma'asum, alayhi salatu wassalam, then that action is construed as being okay, wajib, mustahab, or basically mubah. Because if in the event that somebody performs something that is haram, then it becomes wajib for the ma'asum to speak on that. It becomes compulsory for the ma'asum to say that that is wrong, that must not be taking place. So the actions of the ma'asumin and even their silence all comes under this category of ismat, of ma'asum. Now, again, there's sometimes a question arises, does that mean that the ma'asumin cannot commit sins, or they do not commit sins? This is, inshallah, the dilemma that we'll try and clarify tonight. Because if we look at the angels, for example, the malaika of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, we see that they do not have the power to commit a sin. They do not have the power to disobey Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. They do exactly what has been this time decreed, ordered for them, and whatever the message of Allah ta'ala is, they perform that message. They have no other issue. We can say they have no other choice. Okay? Now what, is that the same rule, or is that the same principle that applies when it comes to ismat? And here, we see that we have to come to a slightly different level in order to understand this. If we look at ismat, and if we were to say that they cannot commit sins, then there would be no difference between the angels and the ma'asumin. Between the prophets and the ma'asumin, there would be no difference. Because the angels do not have the power, we could have said that the ma'asumin do not have the power. But that is not the case. That is not the case. It is one thing to have the power to commit something and not to do it, or to have the power to do something and not do it, than not to have the power to do it or not to do it. What we mean by that is, for example, I give you a glass of water. The dear brothers, they brought me a glass of water, mashallah, nice, fresh, clean water. I drank it. But let us say, for example, by mistake something happens and there's mud that falls into that water. Now the glass of water is still there. There's mud in it, there's earth in it, there's mitti in it, whatever. Do I have the power to drink that water or not? Do I have the power? Do I have the ability? Can I take the glass to my mouth and bring it to my... I'm not saying whether I... But the question arises, would I do it? Would I do it? And I see the old, mashallah, some of you are nodding your heads and saying, no, you would not do it, alhamdulillah. You would not, I would not do it. But I have the power to do it. Now let's say I ask Ali Jawad Bhai, I said, look, today, for iftar, I want to go to the rotating restaurant. He says, okay, let's go, chalo, wahan jayenge. Or I want to go to the Diamond Jubilee Hall, and we go there to the top there, and I say, okay, let's take a jump down so that we can save some time going on the lift and we don't have to worry about it. He'll tell me, तुम्हें बराबर चुन है, खैरियत तो है ना, हमको पता है कि 5वीं रात है, लेकिन ज़हन तो सही है ना. I said, why? He said, if you jump, you might get hurt. If you take me to Kilimanjaro and I say, okay, let's jump from there, then you'll tell me you will die. Inna lillahi wa inna. आपकी मैयत, आपकी लाश ऐसे उठाए, वहाँ पर कनाडा में जवाब देना पड़ेगा कि क्या हो गया. I say, why? I say, how do you know that? How do you know that? Have you done it? Have you died? Has your friend done it and have they died? They say, Papa, we haven't done it, but we know that if somebody does this, the result will be this. The natija of our actions is understood. If I drink dirty water, my stomach will hurt. I can get poisoning. I don't have to have done it before to know that this is what can happen. If I jump from a very high place, I don't need somebody to come and tell me that I did it and this is what happened to me, so you better not do it. My logic, my intellect, my brain will tell me that this is what will happen. So the conclusion is known by me, and so as a result, the ma'asumeen know that if you disobey Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, the natija of that action will be this. The result of disobeying Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will be this. So they do not commit sins, not that they cannot commit sins. One salawat upon Muhammad and Ali Muhammad. So the power is there, but the actual action will not be done because the knowledge is also there as to what will happen. Now this knowledge I wanted to inshallah elaborate a little bit upon. We had mentioned in the earlier majlis that shaitan was doing the ibadat of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And I even mentioned that some of you might go and leave the majma saying that, Maulana said that shaitan was a mu'min, shaitan was a Muslim, shaitan, whatever the conclusion, I'll talk about explaining, I'll try and explain that inshallah in today's discussion. He had the knowledge of Allah, he had the ilm of Allah. There are two words that in English get translated as the same. They both get translated as knowledge. But there is a very important difference. One is known as ilm, one is known as ma'rifat. To have the ilm of something is one thing, to have the ma'rifat of something is another thing altogether. And so Janab Iblis had the ilm of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. He had the knowledge of Allah. That's why he was worshipping Allah. He knows that Allah created everything. If you look at, because one of the activities that I'm very heavily involved in back in Canada is interfaith activities. We sit every month with about 30 or 35 members of different religions. Christians, Jews, Hindus, Buddhists, Sunnis, pagans, atheists. We have a whole group. And the interesting thing that I've concluded and I've noted even in these discussions, even those who are naturists, they don't believe in God, they don't believe in any creator, they say nature is nature, nature is the ultimate, they say Mother Nature, that she is the ultimate power that dictates everything. Even the people who are atheists sitting at my table there, even they have certain knowledge of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So they even have the knowledge. They know that some power has created this universe. Because even the most devout of scientists will have to look at the whole universe and have to have some iota of belief that some power was responsible for creating the very beginning of this whole essence of the universe. Even the proponents of the Big Bang Theory, who believe that it just exploded, one atom exploded and went on and on and on and on and created this whole universe. Even they will have to have a complexion, some sort of a confusion as to how that original atom came into being. And I have some very interesting discussions. I don't have the time on the mimbar to go into that right now. But so we see that even they have the ilm of Allah. They have the ilm of God. They know some power must have. They don't want to call it God. They don't want to call it Allah. That's their business. But they understand that there is something. And something very deep, something very powerful. That's why when an atheist comes to Imam Ja'far ibn Muhammad as-Sadiq alayhi salatu wasalam, and he says, I don't believe in God, I don't believe in Allah, this is just something that you all concocted. The Imam says to him, you're a businessman, huh? You're a tajir. Man says, yeah. He says, you remember that one time for your business you were going across the sea. You were going to go sell or to buy some goods. The man was startled that how did this man sitting in Medina know? He says, yes, I remember. He says, do you remember there was a storm and your boat capsized? The man is shocked. He says, yes. How does this man sitting in Medina know that? He says, at that time you were about to drown. You were about to drown. He says, yes, you're right. He says, at that moment, did you have some feeling in your heart that something or someone will save you? Allahu Akbar. The man says, yes. He says, that was Allah. That was Allah. An atheist. So they have that ilm, they know that ilm that there is a creator, no matter who there is in this earth. And I have made challenges even to the most ardent of atheists that even you will have to believe that there is something or someone more powerful than yourself. Because the human instinct and human nature requires it. To believe in something that is above you. It's natural. Again, I don't want to go into that discussion right now because I have to come to an important. So what's the difference now? What was the difference when Shaitan didn't do his sajda because of what his argument was? He believed in Allah, he believed in Nabuwwat, he believed in those mukhlasin that will not be misguided. And Allah Ta'ala asked him, what, you thought anta min al-a'aleen? You thought you were from the a'aleen? Shaitan was asked that by Allah Ta'ala. And you thought you were from the a'aleen? That means that there was one group for whom the sajda of Adam was not wajib. There was one group. La ilaha illallah. Tawajjuh dijiye. That group, Allah is asking Shaitan, that did you think that you were from that group? Because for that group the sajda was not wajib. For everybody else it was wajib. And the fact that Shaitan did not respond and did not argue, that means that even he acknowledged that there was a group that was higher than Adam. That if even the sajda to Adam was allowed, then this group would be more deserving. But the maslahat of Allah took its own course. One salawat upon Muhammad and Ali Muhammad. So to have the ilm of Allah is simple. But to go higher than that is to have the ma'rifat of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Everybody has the ilm of Allah. But to have the ma'rifat of Allah is something at a much higher level. I tell our youngsters here, be careful of the fan. Pankha nahi dhyan rakho. Angri andar nakso to kapai jaise. Buzurg ko bhi hum kahenge. Baat hamari manenge. Log hamari ihtaram karke baat maan lenge. You, inshallah, you will respect me, you will listen to me. Nobody will put their finger inside. I tell you the stove is hot. You believe me, inshallah. I am your younger brother, elder brother. I'm sitting on the mimbar, so maybe you will trust me. You will see. I have given you the ilm that is dangerous for a child. Or the stove is hot. I have told you that. Now when you actually put your finger in there, your finger gets cut, you're bleeding, then you say, Haji, Maulana kidata bara tu. You touch that hot stove and you burn your hand or your fingers. Then you realize the stove is hot. When I tell you I have given you the ilm of that item, when you experience it, that is ma'rifat. It is easy to have the ilm of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. It is difficult to have the ma'rifat of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. One time, Hazrat Musa Nabi Allah Kalimullah alayhi salatu wasalam was going to have his conversation on Jabal Tur. A young boy meets him. A young boy meets him. And he says, Ya Musa, kahan ja rahe ho? Where are you going? So I'm going to have my conversation with Allah Ta'ala. He says, give my message to Allah. You know, everybody wants to give a message. You find out somebody is going for a ziyarah, somebody is going for hajj, somebody is going for a pilgrimage. And you are always going to, mu'minin will say, हमारी एक दुआ ले जाओ, हमारे માટે दुआ कर जाओ, मेरे लिए दुआ करना, हमारी एक मुश्किल है, हमारी एक परेशानी है. Who is sitting here does not have a mushkil or does not have a pareshani? Anybody sitting here can say, everything is okay, I have no problems, I have nothing to worry about. You see, everybody does. So everybody wants to take a message. And you will find people who are going for Hajj or who have come back from Hajj or who are going for Umrah, who have come back from Umrah, who are going for Ziyarah, or who come back from Ziyarah. You say, please, my liye dua karna. Maha Ramadhan, I hear this every day after namaz, after the Maghrib, after the Dhuhrain, after namaz. Please pray for me. I need your du'as. And of course, we are all muhtaj of dua. We all need dua. So this man, this boy, young boy, very handsome, good looking, he tells Musa, he says, take my message to Allah as well. So maybe Musa thought. He says, tell your Allah that I don't need him. Tell Allah, tell your God, I don't need him. I am healthy, I'm wealthy, I'm fine, I'm handsome, I've got everything. Tell him I don't need him. Give my message. Hazrat Musa becomes gloomy, sad. He goes on his way, goes to the mountain, finishes the conversation. Finishes the conversation that whatever injunctions Allah Ta'ala has given him. And then Allah says, finished? Baat ho gayi? Tamam ho gayi? He says, yes. Are you sure it's finished? Inshallah, it's done. He says, Musa, no more messages? He says, Ya Allah, there was one message, but I was ashamed to give it. I was ashamed to give it. Hazrat Musa is telling Allah Ta'ala. He says that young boy says that I should tell you he doesn't need you, he doesn't need anything. Allah Ta'ala then reveals to Hazrat Musa that I have already given him a punishment. Allahu Akbar. Allah Ta'ala says, I've already given him a punishment. I've already given him an adhab. Hazrat Musa says, he's wealthy, he's good looking, he's young, he's this, he's that. You know what our concept of adhab, what our concept of ni'mat is? It's very different. Allah Ta'ala says, I've already given him an adhab. Hazrat Musa says, what adhab have you given him? He says, I have taken from his heart my love out. He has no recognition or ma'rifat of me. That's already an adhab in itself. Because if he had my ma'rifat, he would be looking forward to having a message from me or a message to me. He would be looking forward to doing my ibadat. When somebody's ma'rifat is taken away, then they think that they are independent, they are heedless of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. That is why we need to ask ourselves as well, when we are going to salat, when the adhan comes, what is our feeling in our mind, in our heart? Are we looking forward to going to the musalla? Are we looking forward to going to the masjid? Are we looking forward to going to the Husayniyah, to listen to the lecture, to listen to Shab Jummah, to listen to Dua Kumail? If we are, then we've got the ma'rifat of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, because this is where we get the message of Allah ta'ala from. If it is a musibat or a bala for us, then we have no ma'rifat of Allah, and this Allah ta'ala is referring to as an adhab in itself. It is a punishment in itself. Because ma'rifat means that we will be waiting for the time of adhan to come. We will be waiting for subh sadiq. We will be waiting for zawal ayn. We will be waiting for maghrib time to come. We want to go to Allah. We want to say Allahu Akbar. We want to say Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim. Alhamdulillahi Rabbil Alamin. We are looking forward to it. We are longing for it. That is where the ma'rifat is. And so when you have the ma'rifat of Allah Ta'ala, then the action of Iblis becomes redundant because irrelevant. He had the knowledge, he had the ilm, but he did not have ma'rifat. The ma'rifat is what the believer tries to reach out to. The arifin, the urafat, they are reaching out towards getting the ma'rifat of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, not just the ilm of Allah. Ilm is very easy. And so when it came to Rasulullah, the same issue applies. Everybody in the Arabian Peninsula had the ilm of Muhammad ibn Abdullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. They saw the rock speaking and saying, Assalamu alayka ya Rasulullah. They saw the trees bowing and saying, Assalamu alayka ya Rasulullah. They saw the moon splitting in favor of Rasulullah's message. They saw everything. And they still didn't believe. Who could not believe when they see this? That means they had the ilm, but they didn't have the ma'rifat of Rasulullah. وَمَا مُحَمَّدًا إِلَّا Rasul. That Muhammad and Rasul, there's no difference. They are one and the same. And they are one and the same means that the ma'rifat of Rasulullah means that you have the ma'rifat of Muhammad ibn Abdullah, the Rasul of Allah Ta'ala. You want to see the difference, what it is to have the ilm and the ma'rifat of Rasulullah? At the time the Treaty of Hudaybiyah was being signed, the scribe was Amirul Mu'mineen Ali ibn Abi Talib, writing it down. Ma'rifat Rasul. The Prophet dictates the terms that this is the treaty between the Qurayshis of Makkah and Muhammad Rasulullah, and then the treaty terms are about to be written out. The kuffar, the Qurayshis, they say, stop. He says, if we believed in you to be Muhammad Rasulullah, then we wouldn't have done what we did. We don't believe you to be Muhammad Rasulullah. That is why we're doing this. So the treaty is between us and Muhammad ibn Abdullah. The Prophet says to Imam Ali, Ya Ali, stroke out Muhammad Rasulullah and put Muhammad bin Abdullah. In the entire history of Ali ibn Abi Talib, even the very breath of Rasulullah was cherished by my Mawla Ali. Every order of Rasulullah, the Imam would put as his immediate order and wajibat. Whatever the pleasure of Rasulullah was, Ali ibn Abi Talib was ready to fulfill it. The Prophet tells him, Ali, take out Muhammad Rasulullah, put Muhammad bin Abdullah. Amir al-Mu'mineen, at that time, takes the pen and puts it down. And he says, Ya Rasulullah, the whole life of Ali ibn Abi Talib has been the exemplation of Muhammad Rasulullah. This job Ali cannot do. Now, writers, the shallow-minded writers, those who are not aware, who are deliberately ignorant or unintentionally ignorant, they wrote, La ilaha illallah, that Ali disobeyed Rasulullah. You see how the vision is. We have ulama karam sitting here, Sayyids are here, Shaykh is here. They will be able to correct me when and if I say something wrong. These writers have made a serious mistake because they didn't have the ma'rifat of the Imam, that is in its own level, but they failed to understand Rasulullah. When Imam Ali said that he could not do this action, it was not out of disobedience to Hazrat Rasul. It was to make sure that not only for himself but for the whole universe he showed that the ma'rifat of Rasulullah is this, that don't take the personality as separate from the risalat. The risalat is the personality is the risalat. Muhammad is Rasul, Rasul is Muhammad. And so by not doing that, he showed the world that we have ma'rifat of the Rasul. The Rasul is from Allah. Salawat ala Muhammad wa ala Muhammad. You believe, you have the ma'rifat of Rasulullah to know that that is the Rasul. There is no ifs, buts or ands. That is the Rasul of Allah. The ma'rifat means that you hold on fast to that message of the Risalat. What does Rasulullah do? Rasulullah takes the pen, strokes out Muhammad Rasulullah, and himself writes Muhammad bin Abdullah. This is that Rasul. ये वो रसूल है जिनके लिए दुनिया कह रही थी कि अनपढ़ है. Today, if you give me a document in Swahili and tell me, Sheikh, write this or write that, what will I tell you? माफ कर जो मैंने Swahili नहीं आवड़ती. वो नहीं लिख सकता हूँ. Where should I write? What should I write? Spell it for me. Help me. सही है ना? You give me something in another language, in the Chinese language. I'll tell you, I'm sorry, I don't know this language. Can you please help me? Can you tell me how do you spell this in this language? How do you spell in Swahili? Not one Ravi, not one Mu'arrikh, not one historian, whether it's from the Ahl Sunnah or Ahl Tashayyum, was able to say that Rasulullah had to ask Ali ibn Abi Talib or anybody else, how do you spell Muhammad ibn Abdullah and where should I write it, how should I write it? That means that the ilm of Rasulullah was there. Whether the ummah is blind or not, that is the ummah's responsibility. Rasulullah knew how to read, Rasulullah knew how to write. One salawat upon Muhammad and Ali Muhammad. The ma'rifat of Rasulullah, that when the world was wondering whether Ali was Huda or not, when the world was writing what is the station of Ali, Ali sits down and says, I am the Ghulam of Muhammad, Rasulullah. I am the servant of Rasulullah. Imagine the status of the Holy Prophet of Islam. The maqam of Rasulullah. The ma'rifat is important. Because then ma'rifat means whatever Rasul has given us, we will accept. Whatever he has refrained from us, we will refrain from. That is what ma'rifat is. We don't want to say, well, kya lakhelu che kya wajib che? These kinds of discussions don't arise when you've got the ma'rifat of Rasulullah. If you know that Rasulullah has said or done something, that is hujjat enough. That is sufficient proof for us. Ma'rifat of Rasulullah. The ma'rifat is a very deep and a higher stage. Ilm is very basic, very simple. Ma'rifat is a much deeper level. And that is why we are then told that to have the ma'rifat of the Imam also becomes our third responsibility. To strive to reach the ma'rifat of the Imam is what is imperative for the believers.
When we believe, or when we say, Ashhadu anna Aliyun waliyullah, Allahumma salli ala Muhammad, we are not saying it in confrontation or in contradiction to somebody else or something else. We are saying it is because it is deserving to be believed in. It has a value in itself. Not because we're trying to contradict or confront anybody else. The wilayat of Ali ibn Abi Talib, if you have the ma'rifat and struggling and striving towards the ma'rifat, will bring us to the true message of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Having the ma'rifat and the true obedience to Rasulullah will bring us to the pleasure of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. The radha of Allah ta'ala is linked with both of these. The chain starts when we want the pleasure of Allah, connecting it to Rasulullah. In tuhibbunallah fattabi'uni. If you love Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, Rasulullah says, follow me. I am the door to go to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And so the same Prophet who says that I am the door to Allah ta'ala, he says, Ana madinatul ilma wa aliyun babuha. You come through the door, you enter the city, you come to the city, you get to the pleasure of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. It's a very simple formula. The wilayat of Ali ibn Abi Talib, the imamat of the Imam and the Ma'sumin brings us to the true message of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. What is the pleasure of Allah? Where is the radha of Allah? Where is what Allah expects of us? We find that at the door of the A'immah. We find the true message of Islam at the door. That's why when the very first night when I said that the 4 things that we have to thank Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala for, I thank Murtaza Bhai for giving me that in Arabic, inshallah. May Allah bless you, inshallah. And so we see that the pleasure, one of those things that we thank Allah Ta'ala for, is that we are on the path of Muhammad and Ali Muhammad, the place where the Quran was revealed. So we have no ambiguities, we have no confusion as to what is the Quran saying. Do we follow that ideology? Do we follow this ideology? Do we follow that? And when we, confusion arises. Should we pray namaz like this? Should we pray namaz like that? Do we do wudu like this or do we do wudu like that? What happens? Do we do namaz at Maghrib time? Do we do it at sunset? Where all these confusions arise because different doors are approached. We go to that door where the Quran Majid was revealed. हम उस दरवाजे पे जाता है जहाँ पर तंजील Quran हुआ था, नाज़िल Quran नाज़िल हुआ था. When you go to that door, then there's no confusion. But the point is to have the ma'rifat of the door that we are going to. The ma'rifat of the Imam. And if you want to see how powerful ma'rifat of the Imam can be, how powerful for centuries, the followers of Ali Muhammad have been subjugated, have been tortured, have been killed. I've had so many youngsters and so many women after namaz, after du'as, after the session, after the majlis, come to me and says, abhi to had ho gaya hai. હવે શું થાય છે દુનિયામાં આટલું જુલ્મ આપણે બરદાશ્ત કર્યા છે હવે હજી સુધી બરદાશ્ત કરે. You've seen the tapes, you've seen the videos, you've seen on the websites how they have been killing the Shias. The way you take an animal and you say Bismillah Allahu Akbar, you do the zabah, you see the blood gushing out, you see the women being tortured and their izzat being taken, you see youngsters, children being shot at point blank range. People are saying zulm so much. This is not now, my sisters and my brothers. ये आज की बात नहीं है. 1400 सदियां हमको बर्दाश्त करना पड़ा है. The dua mentions it. Read the dua. We are asking Allah, كثرة عدونا وقلة عددنا. We are few. Our enemies are many. The dhulm on us is shadid. There's so many things. When you read the dua and you read the meaning of that, Allahu Akbar. That is the only consolation we have. But when you have ma'rifat, you're able to bear it. Not even 6 years ago, almost 6 years next month, there was a small group with a yellow flag who were being oppressed by the mightiest power in the Middle East, a superpower, a nuclear power. And these few hundred yellow flagged followers of Imam Sahib al-Zaman, and with the slogan of Labbaik Ya Hussein, not only confronted, but won against that superpower. No bombs, no atomic weapons, none of that was needed. We only wanted Allahu Akbar, Labbaik Ya Hussein, Al-Ajal Ya Imam Sahib al-Zaman. Salawat ala Muhammad wa alayhi. Ma'rifat Imam can give you that much power. Ma'rifat Imam can give you the power to confront a nuclear atomic bomb. Ma'rifat of the Imam. Because the ma'rifat of Imam is ma'rifat of Rasul. Ma'rifat of Rasul is ma'rifat of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. What power can confront Allah? What nuclear, these bombs, tanks, you think they are something? You think they have a value? You think they have got any meaning? When you say Allahu Akbar and you mean Allahu Akbar, the mightiest of fighter planes will become redundant and irrelevant. People ask, when Mawla Imam al-Hujjah, inshallah our discussion one day will be on the Imam as well. When the Imam comes, you Mawlanas, you Zakirin, you Ulama, you've said that he will have Zulfikar. They almost mock some of our Shias as well. They said, do you realize Zulfikar won't be able to fight these M13, M15, MiG fighters and these tanks and these bombs? Zulfikar? You're forgetting the Asa of Musa opened up the whole Nile 12 paths. You forgot that. The ring of Hazrat Sulaiman controlled the known world at the time. You forgot that. Bhul gaye. So if the Zulfikar of Ali ibn Abi Talib can fight and render all of these weapons completely null and void, then remember that, inshallah. Ma'rifat of the Imam, to have the ma'rifat. The hadith mentions that anybody who recites the ziyarat of Sayyid al-Shuhada, Imam Hussein ibn Ali alayhi salatu wassalam, will be given such a high daraja that their sins become forgiven. They become like a newborn baby. Mawla, it's that easy. The only prerequisite and condition is arifan bihaqqihi. Have the ma'rifat of the Imam. Ma'rifat of the Imam, not ilm Imam. Ma'rifat of the Imam. Understand the position of the Imam. Know the position of Ahlul Bayt alayhim wassalatu wassalam. That's what ma'rifat. The ilm everybody had. Countless non-Shias were students of every Imam. They had the ilm. They knew that there was nobody more knowledgeable than Ja'far ibn Muhammad. Nobody more muttaqi than Imam Muhammad Taqi. Nobody more great than Muhammad ibn Ali. They knew all of that. But they didn't believe in the Imamah. They had the ilm. They didn't have the ma'rifat. The ma'rifat of the ziyarat of the Imam. When you have the Imam, the ziyarat gives you that much power. The ziyarat becomes accepted when we have the ma'rifat, and our sins get forgiven when we have the ma'rifat of the Imam. We recognize in our hearts and in our minds, who is the Imam? Imam kaun hai? Imam ka maqam kya hai? Imam ka martaba kya hai? You see the Imam leaving the city of Medina. As he's leaving Medina, he makes a very quick exit as he's leaving the outskirts, as he's leaving the border of the city. So quickly that some are wondering, why is the Imam going with such speed? And some realized why the Imam did. The Imam, as he was leaving Medina, he took almost all the family members, but one very prominent member of his family was left behind. And that was Fatima Sughra. Fatima Sughra was not taken with the Imam. Some say that maybe because she was ill. Ali ibn al-Hussein was also not in full health. Some say maybe because of her age. Sakina bint al-Hussein was there. Ali Asghar was there. One Ravi explained why Fatima Sughra was not taken. As she tried to call out to the Imam went away and made as if he did not hear it. The Imam did not hear her cries. Finally, in her state of desperation, Fatima Sughra calls out to her aunt Zainab and says, Pupi Amma, zara Baba ko samjhaiye, Baba ko bataiye कि मुझे क्यों पूछिए मुझे क्यों नहीं ले जा रहे? वो जा रहे लेकिन मेरे साथ में क्यों नहीं आ सकती हो? As they're going, Hazrat Zainab eventually reaches Imam Hussain, says, Bhaiya Jahan, आखिर में एक सवाल का जवाब दीजिए. Imam ने कहा, Zainab, मुझे पता है क्या पूछने के लिए आई हो. मुझे मालूम है, खुदा के लिए मत पूछिए. Zainab ने कहा, भैया जान, जरा बताइए तो सही इसका मसला क्या है. मसला क्या है? इमाम वक्त आपो में कोई कंट्रडिक्शन नहीं करना चाहती हो, लेकिन समझाइए तो सही. इमाम ने जवाब दिया, ज़ैनब, मालूम है ना करबला के बाद क्या होने वाले हैं. मेरे सब बेटियों में से ये एक बेटी है जो मिसले तस्वीर फातिमा माँ फातिमा की है. हम शक्ल फातिमा ज़हरा है, तस्वीर फातिमा है. हुसैन आपको बताएंगे, आपको मालूम है करबला के बाद क्या होने वाले हैं. शाम गरीबा और कूफे के रास्ते में क्या होने वाले हैं. दरबार बाजार शाम में बाजार शाम में क्या होने वाले? ज़ैनब हुसैन जैसा शाकिर, हुसैन जैसा साबिर, हर चीज बर्दाश्त करने को तैयार है, लेकिन अपने माँ फातिमा ज़हरा की तस्वीर बेमकना चादर बर्दाश्त करने को तैयार है। उसे आलमुल्लज़ीना ज़लमू यनक़लिबून इन्ना लिल्लाहि व इन्ना इलैहि राजिऊन. Oh Allah, accept this ibadat from us. Forgive our sins, give us a tawfiq to remain away from sins. Ya Allah, let us act on the teachings of the Quran and Majid and the Ahlul Bayt. Allah, keep the Quran and the Ahlul Bayt as our umbrella, our saya above our heads, Ya Allah. Protect our ulama who are serving while the Imam is in occultation. Give them a long and healthy life in the service of Islam. The marhumin who have left this world, grant them maghfirat. Ya Allah, when we leave this world, give us maghfirat as well. Protect us from the difficulties of maut, the difficulties in the qabr, the difficulties on Yawm al-Qiyamah, Ya Allah. We ask you, we beg you, Ya Allah, for the sake of Muhammad and Ali Muhammad, and for the sake of this month of Ramadan al-Sharif, hasten the return of our Mawla Imam al-Hujjah, so that the dhulm will be ending. We will see Zaman al-Dhuhur with our own eyes. Let us have the ma'rifat of the Imam, Ya Allah, and let us be with the Imam till the end of our lives, inshaAllah. Rabbana taqabbal minna, innaka antas sami'ul alim. One surah Fatiha for all the marhumin who are no longer with us. Bismillah, Fatiha. Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim.